Hello, Mike Hall here, CEO of Paul Fraser Collectibles, and welcome to episode 4 of my top tips on what to buy in the rare collectibles market right now, firstly for pleasure, but also for future profit. Now, in my last episode, I recommended pop culture memorabilia, which was an area of the collectibles market specifically benefiting from a younger demographic of buyer. Now, today's episode, I'm going to follow the same vein. So this is an area of the collectibles market that has a very large demographic of interested buyers, starting all the way from your 20s right through to old age. And it is actually one of the fastest growing areas of the collectibles market in recent years. Now, the thing about collectibles is that whilst they're a pleasure and a delight to own and you can display them, they don't actually have any utility whatsoever. Today's area of the collectibles market actually has a very specific utility, and that utility is it tells the time. So obviously my recommendation today is watches, but not just watches. More specifically, I am recommending luxury pre-owned watches and the most iconic brands. So that is Rolex, Patek Philippe and Audemars Piguet. They're the most well-known and the most aspirational purchases in luxury watches. So the market for luxury watches has soared in value in recent years, and this all started really during the COVID pandemic and the periods of lockdown. Now, as you would expect, during that time, the factories had to close, so there was no new production of these watches. And that led to the emergence of an online pre-owned market, which really exploded during that period. And that has since continued, because since production has continued, Rolex and Patek Philippe in particular have never been able to keep up with demand. So there is always months, if not years, of a waiting list to buy a new model. Consequently, people that want to own these luxury watches are moving to the pre-owned market, which can quite often be at a premium to what it would cost to buy it from the manufacturers. So really what we have is a market which fundamentally benefits from the fact that demand outstrips supply by a multiple at all times, which is a great dynamic to have. And for the right models, we've been seeing 20% growth per annum on average in recent years. The Knight Frank Luxury Investment Index reports a growth rate of 147% over the past 10 years for all models. So it's been a really strong area of the market. And the only thing I would say, though, is this area of the market is much more volatile than any other area of the collectibles market I would recommend. So prices can go up and down in short periods of time. But the longer term trend is clearly very positive. And indeed, since October, particularly for Rolex, the prices have actually come down 10 to 20%. So I think this is an opportunity to buy into a dip at a good price in a market which overall is showing a good rate of return over the long term. And it's a market actually where pure investors have really flocked to this en masse. And that is for a portfolio diversification tool and a hedge against inflation. But really, one of the things that is most attractive if you're looking at this as an investment is that the luxury watch pre-owned market is extremely liquid. It's extremely transparent. Pricing is transparent online. The trading spreads are very low, which really means that when you come to exit to realize this investment, it is very straightforward to sell your watches. But for me, I think they are beautiful mechanical works of art and fantastic to own. And I have a personal story because I actually 10 years ago treated myself to a luxury watch, and I bought, which I'll briefly show you, a watch 10 years ago. It's a Patek Philippe. Now, at that time, I could just walk into the retail outlet and pick my watch and walk out the same day with it in my hands, which I did. And when I bought this, I was looking for something to wear, not an investment at all. And I bought something. Rolex was no good because they're very chunky, my wrist very thin. And I wanted something understated that affected my wrist, so Patek Philippe was perfect. And I've worn it for 10 years, and I had it valued just recently and was actually surprised to find out that it's worth double what I paid for it. So very personal experience showing that you get a great utility for something, and also it's rising in value as you're enjoying it, which is a real privilege. So really the specific buying tips I'd give when buying into this market, I mean, our review at Paul Fraser Collectibles is that limited edition and historic pieces are going to lead the way in price appreciation in the years ahead. I think looking at the complications of the watches with lots of complications, there's a thing called complication junkies in the collector's market for watches, and they've been really outperforming as well as they're so sought after. It's a good area to look at. Condition is critical, and we only recommend unworn watches in mint condition if you're looking at it as an investment. You can also look at the value of the metals that they're made from, sometimes diamonds as well. There's an underlying value there which underpins the value of the watch. Funnily enough, authenticity in the watch market is really straightforward. They all come with a serial number that can be tracked back to the manufacturer, and everything we buy, we have the original paperwork and invoices and ownership tracked back to when it was purchased from Rolex or Patek Philippe. There's an area of the market in watches which trades at a different level, and that's where the provenance is that a watch was previously owned by a famous person. And those sorts of watches can actually sell for 7 figures. So I'm now going to finish up with sharing with you 2 watches that we actually have available right now. What I would say about watches and our company is that, as I said, it's a very liquid market. We never have a stock holding of watches because we're literally buying and then selling them immediately to clients based on there's a pent-up demand, and sometimes we're actually sourcing specific things for clients who are looking for a specific watch. But we really don't have the luxury of building a stock holding such as the liquidity. Okay, so the first item I'd like to share with you is this rather startling green Rolex, which is unworn, mint condition, and it's the Hulk Submariner Rolex, which was just in 2020. Now, it's arguably the most popular Submariner watch for investment purposes, and it comes with its original box and paperwork as everything that we sell does. Now, in this green colour, there was low production numbers, and it became very popular as it was nicknamed the Hulk after the colour green. And production stopped for this in 2020, and prices have risen since then, as you would expect. Having said that, in October last year, the market value for this model was £25,000, and today you can buy this from us for £20,000, which is a 20% discount. The second item is another lovely and attractive Rolex, and kind of aspirational type purchase this because of the diamonds around the hour markers, and this white gold fluted bezel is really, really quite stunning. It's like a piece of jewellery as well as something that tells the time. And this one's called a date just 41, and this was produced in 2021. And this, funnily enough, is for sale for just £12,750. But I think we must have bought pretty well on this one, because I just looked online and saw one for sale for $20,000 on another online dealer. So I think this is a real steal at that price, and in a market that's rising in value. So that's all for this week, and I look forward to seeing you again next week for my next top tip in the rare collectibles market. Thank you very much for watching.